President Trump is steamed with China following a report it has been secretly selling oil to North Korea in violations of United Nations sanctions. A South Korean paper published what it said were U.S. spy satellite photos showing Chinese ships delivering oil to North Korean ships at sea. President Trump tweeted today, quote, "Caught red-handed. Very disappointed that China is allowing oil to go into North Korea. There will never be a friendly solution to the North Korean problem if this continues to happen," end quote. And tonight, in an interview with the New York Times, the president says he's, quote, "been soft," end quote, on China over trade in hopes that its government will pressure North Korea to abandon its nuclear weapons program. Let's discuss the implications with Fox News national security and foreign affairs analyst Walid Phares in Orlando, Florida. And joining us from San Francisco, California is attorney and foreign policy analyst Arash Aramesh. Thank you, gentlemen, both for joining us. You've both been outspoken on a number of foreign policy issues. But Ari, let me start with you. The president, he had a pretty good year on foreign policy for a rookie, don't you think?
Did he? I think not. No, the president has had a number of major fiascos. First and foremost, let me start by saying this. Our allies are worried about us, and our enemies
which ally do you think is worried about it? Which ally do you think is worried about it?
Germany, the United Kingdom. Germany's Angela Merkel, who the president would not even shake her hand at the White House. The British, where we now have a debate whether the president is even invited to a wedding, to a royal wedding for Prince Harry. And
that's
now
your
we have
biggest
to second
worry.
guess whether
President
President
Trump hasn't been invited to a presidential to a wedding.
Jason, that is not my concern.
Let me try to go to China.
No, Jason, hold on. Hold on, Jason. My concern.
Let's go to China.
No, I did bring it up, so let me finish the point, Jason. Jason, my concern is that America is no longer respected under Donald J. Trump. That is my problem.
Okay. You're entitled to your opinion. I happen to disagree with that. But let's talk about China for a second. I want to talk about China and North Korea because it is a very difficult proposition. Here we have spy satellite photos reportedly out showing that North Korea is in China are trading fuel on a ship. Let's go to Dr. Phares. What do you make of this and what the president's approach has been, particularly as it relates to North Korea?
Well, we have, first of all, the daily approach that basically generates debates about what we see, what we don't see, the pictures, the photos, and then you have the strategic approach. The strategic approach, basically, the novelty of the Trump administration is that the Eastern Asian alliance is back and running. That's the most important point. Japan, South Korea, other players, we've seen this in his Asian tour, and that is sending basically strong signals to China, the deployment of task forces, which has generated, congressmen, a unanimous vote at the Security Council, including China and Russia, and of course our other allies, against North Korea, on the one hand. On the other hand, yes, the Chinese are not yet completely convinced that they got to move 100% in this issue. They don't know. They don't have answers on if that regime collapses in North Korea, who will replace him? 100% pro-Chinese, neutral? Will be South Korea. So I think there will be more diplomatic work with China on the one hand, but on the ground in the East Asian alliance, I think it's very clear that there's a pressure coming from that side.
Okay, so Ari, there was a strong vote, you've got to admit, in the United Nations where they made a pretty strong statement. Nikki Haley, I got to admit, it did a pretty good job of helping to bring people along. But given the spy satellite photos that you see here, given the situation that we're in today, what do you recommend?
Well, Jason,
what do you think that the president should be doing in this particular case?
Jason, if you don't cut me off or interrupt me for 30 seconds, and I promise you not to wipe the floor with anybody, but give me 30 seconds. Here's a problem.
Okay, well,
we have a unanimous vote. We have a unanimous vote in the UN Security Council. That is because North Korea is an international pariah, first and foremost. But let Tillerson be Tillerson. Let him do his job. The president can't wake up every morning and tweet nonsense. The president can't wake up every morning after planning his golf game and after planning his little vacations, cannot mishandle and misinterpret and ignore intelligence reports and intelligence briefings and so on and so forth.
What specifically do you think he's not? No, what do you specifically think he should be doing given this current satellite photos? You're looking at them like we are today. What do you think the president should be doing at this point?
Well, the president, for the first and foremost, the president should have not endeared the Chinese when he shared some chocolate cake with them in Mar-a-Lago. And secondly, he should turn up the heat on the Chinese. The Chinese have more leverage on the North Koreans than anybody in the region or in the world for that matter. Third, he should ignore the calls coming from Russia and from Sergei Lavrov, that's a Russian foreign minister, to try to mediate between the U.S. and North Korea. This is not a U.S.-North Korea problem. This is a North Korea versus the rest of the world problem.
Okay,
Bottom line is this: the president.
Sorry,
hold on, Jason.
No. I'm sorry, but
you got to allocate time fairly.
I did.
You were the chairman of the oversight committee.
Yes,
this is
very
not the
insightful.
committee. You got to allocate time fairly.
No,
you got to allocate time fairly. You know, and you're sitting
just
there in New York. You got to allocate time fairly.
Dr. Phares.
Good luck. Go run it.
Thank you, Dr. Phares. Tell me what you think the president should be doing in this particular case.
Well, first of all, he is doing, and we cannot rely on one evening news report about what the Chinese are doing only. This is the Chinese talking to President Trump and his administration, but he's talking to them as well. What do you think the Chinese war room, or for that matter, the North Korean war rooms, are looking at his tweets in the morning? No, they're looking at the movement of the task forces that are being operational in those areas. They're looking at the joint exercise between Japan, South Korea, and of course, they're looking at the growth of that international coalition that wants to isolate North Korea. China today is not China of the 50s. They have financial interests around the world, and the action is around the world. It's not just what's happening between China and the United States bilaterally, but also internationally as well. So I recommend patience.
And they play Trump for a fool. Okay. Walid, and they play Trump for a fool.
I got to leave it there. I got to leave it there. I'm going to try to wish you.
They play Trump for a fool.
I'm going to try to wish you a happy New Year.